The transmission came at 0300 hours Earth Standard Time, a garbled stream of electromagnetic pulses decoded only by the black site lab buried beneath Nevada's salt flats. The signal bore the distress call of Sergeant Mason Rourke, presumed dead for years prior during Operation Farpoint, a covert mission classified at the highest level, a mission the U.S. government had never publicly acknowledged. The details had been sealed even from the president's daily briefings. Mason had vanished without a trace, believed to have been incinerated in a crash that no one could verify ever occurred. The message, however, was unmistakably his. Voice print confirmed, neural resonance matched, and embedded within the digital noise was a plea. Do not negotiate. They are not what they seem. They're torturing me to break you. Those last words echoed like a virus in the minds of those few authorized to hear them. The higher-ups panicked. Not because of Mason, he had long been considered collateral damage, but because the aliens, the Orion Accord, had denied any knowledge of human captives. They had been presented to the world as benign observers, technologically advanced but non-aggressive. They had even shared energy-saving algorithms and atmospheric cleanup technologies that saved millions from climate collapse. But if they had captured and tortured a U.S. soldier in secret, they had violated the core articles of the Interplanetary Trust Pact signed in Geneva. And that meant war. But the U.S. couldn't go to war. Not officially. Not against a civilization with weaponry capable of slicing through Earth's defenses like paper. Any aggression had to be subtle, untraceable, and deniable. The Pentagon summoned Ghost. Ghost didn't have a real name. No one knew where he came from, or what his face looked like. He didn't appear on any payrolls or biometric databases. He operated off the record, not as an assassin, but something far more dangerous, a psychological ghost, a one-man reckoning designed to destabilize, dismantle, and disappear threats without ever stepping into a battlefield. His file, if it existed, probably lived in a lead box somewhere in Greenland. The mission was simple: infiltrate the Orion command post on Saturn's third moon, Hyperion, retrieve or confirm the status of Sergeant Rourke, and make them pay. But it had to look like an accident, a malfunction, a betrayal from within. Anything but human retaliation. Ghost took no weapons, he was the weapon. Dressed in Orion-compatible nanoweave armor and equipped with a neuroadaptive translator, he boarded a stealth capsule retrofitted from alien scrap, piloting it into the moonscape with precision born of years no human could count. He arrived undetected, landing beneath the radar pulses the aliens used to scan for anomalies. Hyperion's atmosphere was thin, crystalline. Buildings rose like frozen coral, alive with biolight and coded pulses that swirled around central data cores. Ghost moved silently, invisible to most sensors, blending into the frequency of the moon's ambient pulse with a cloak stitched from hacked alien algorithms. He had 12 hours before his biosuit would degrade in the radiation storm forecasted by both human and alien satellites. That was all he needed. Inside the alien compound, Ghost found a torture room, sterile, scentless, almost beautiful. No blood, no screams, just harmonic resonance disruptors that made the victim's cells resonate against themselves until they tore apart, molecule by molecule. Mason Rourke was in a suspended state, alive, barely, held in a vertical pod, tubes burrowed into every inch of flesh not already scarred. His eyes twitched. His lips moved without sound. Ghost connected to the neural interface and jacked in. Memories flooded him. Mason had been interrogated for years. Not for secrets, but for feelings. The aliens couldn't understand loyalty, pain, hope. They wanted to know what made humans die for each other, bleed for flags, and bury loved ones with honor. They tortured Mason to see if he'd break, if he'd cry out names, make bargains. He never did. Ghost's mission parameters were clear. If Rourke was alive, extraction was a priority. If not, the secondary objective was justice, and that didn't mean a diplomatic complaint filed in Geneva. It meant consequences. He woke Rourke with a neural stimulant synthesized from his own adrenal profile. Rourke's eyes flared open, blackened pupils, bone-thin face, but alive. "Mason," Ghost said, his voice modulated into Rourke's alpha memory stream. I'm here to take you home. Rourke's reply was a whisper, half delirium, half fury. They made me see things. They used my memories like puzzles. Don't let them follow us. Ghost nodded. He pulled Rourke free, disabling the chamber with a viral sequence that would later cause the entire moon's biosystems to cascade into failure. The building began to flicker as if it sensed the intrusion. Alarms didn't blare. Orion Tech didn't believe in volume. Instead, the walls darkened to black, and the gravity reversed. Ghost carried Rourke on his back as he ran vertically down what was once a hallway, now a falling corridor. Alien guards, thin, long-limbed, biomechanical, formed from the walls themselves, eyes glowing like harvest moons. Ghost didn't fight them. He led them. Downward. Deeper. To the central core. The plan had always been to make them pay with what they loved most, information. Ghost reached the Nexus chamber, an ocean of light that stored centuries of Orion knowledge. He activated his pulse field, slamming a spike of corrupted human memory into the core. It was a virus built from everything the aliens feared: war, death, betrayal, loss. Images of Hiroshima, Auschwitz, 9/11, children screaming for parents lost in war zones. Not propaganda, truth. He embedded it directly into their archive, rewriting their understanding of humanity with our worst. The room convulsed. Screams, not sound, but emotion, rippled through the walls. Ghost saw one alien's form flicker and collapse as if mourning the birth of horror. They had wanted to understand pain. Now they would carry it. He reached the stealth capsule, just as the building imploded behind him. Mason strapped in beside him, drifting in and out of lucidity. As they launched, Ghost activated a pulse that wiped their biosignatures from every satellite that might have tracked them. It was as if they had never been there. When they landed in a quarantine bay 2 days later, Ghost disappeared into the shadows before the first med tech reached them. Mason was stabilized and placed in a recovery coma. He would wake weeks later, unaware of how he'd gotten home. Off the record, Ghost was said to have retired. Others believed he was just waiting, sleeping in some abandoned deep-sea trench or Arctic station, waiting to be awakened again. The Orion Accord never mentioned Mason. They denied any involvement. But shortly after, their ambassador collapsed on live television during a speech about human-alien unity, whispering, "They're broken. Humans are fire wrapped in grief." Earth never acknowledged the retaliation. Officials called the event a data error in Orion's mainframe. No formal charges, no apology, but interstellar trade slowed. Diplomats returned home. Something had changed, deeply and irreversibly. Earth was no longer seen as the younger race desperate for wisdom. They were now something else in the alien mind, something you did not provoke. Mason Rourke was quietly discharged, given a new identity, a cabin in Montana, and a therapy AI to keep his mind from unraveling. He often sat on his porch, looking at the stars, waiting for something he couldn't name to return. He never remembered Ghost's face. He remembered only the voice and the cold sense of precision that carried him home. The files remained sealed. But in a forgotten subfolder deep within a retired defense server, someone left a single line of text, dated and signed. "We do not fight wars. We haunt the enemy's soul." And beneath it, a name etched in corrupted data fragments. "Ghost,